Welcome, welcome, welcome. Adriane here, Adriane Venus, your quantum love coach and your Venus coach. Now, this is another Venus talk after 1 month, almost 5 weeks. That is my first recording. I had so many things in mind to share with you over the last month, and yet life presented so many interesting situations, challenges, and changes I had to be fully present with. What this is all about today is heartbreak, because heartbreak is, in my opinion, one of the greatest, the biggest, and the most profound doorways to change, to transformation, and ultimately to find really who we are. And I know this sounds for many who look into Venusian spaces and think about the divine feminine as something that is absolutely, beautifully soft, gentle, creative, golden glowly to be experienced. And yet there is another side to the Venusian heartbreak experience that we don't really look into very, very fondly. It's something that we hope not have to experience. And yet, once we actually go through it, we understand that something here in the bigger scale of our evolution has a total, utter, deep, turning point to be present with. I personally had to say goodbye to my home in Bali, in the sense of home, 6 years in a very, very beautiful oceanfront resort that I turned into a yoga retreat center with the idea of holding love coach retreats there and being very, very present with smaller groups of my clients. I had beautiful experiences there over the last 6 years, bringing lots of guests there. But the real kickoff of making it a business where I would launch lots and lots more programs I hope to launch there, was interrupted by first COVID and later other changes that were happening in the space. Now, my client, the investor of this property, decided to sell, and for a long period we were looking for buyers, and finally the buyer had arrived. And so late May, we had to say goodbye and sell. And the whole procedure of saying goodbye was actually something that was hugely painful on one level, but then very revealing and utterly empowering on another. Because what it really showed me is that I'm ready to embark something completely different, which is now my beautiful new founded Global Love Coach Academy, which I'm so proud of. However, the next station came and I decided to leave Bali, traveling first to Germany, and here I'm landing close to my birthplace in a little township outside a lake that is very, very beautiful. And I'm staying in a friend's home, recovering from the loss of my first grandchild being miscarried by one of my children last week. So there is another big chapter for me to accept, to heal, and to ultimately, integrate into my role as mother and grandmother. And that was something that was very unexpected and a type of grief and heartbreak I did not expect to happen in this very moment of my travels and evolution, further making peace with the changes in Bali while presenting myself in Europe as a coach, as a founder of the academy, and more than anything, a creator and co-creator in realms of new professional relationships. So there is this big change bubble in my realm that demands for me to be utterly present with my emotional, spiritual, and energetic self, while really checking in what impact my own energy has to the outer world. So the gentleness and really the whole kind of, self-found ability to cope with the grief. And my family is 24,000 kilometers away, experiencing really a very tough situation. I'm not being able to be present for is something quite interesting to observe. And I know it because I have children across the planet forever. I had the situation with my sons living for 7 years with their father in Germany many years ago. I had it with my first son who decided not to stay in New Zealand and live in Germany again. And I know that living away from children is a very, very interesting experience as a mother. But being taken away, this grandchild, so early was a kind of grief I did not really, really, sign up for. And yet it opens up so much deep understanding about my ability to hold space for a much, much bigger realm that is not just, my children and family, but almost like a karmic quantum field that demands that every ancestor, everybody who creates lines in the feminine and masculine space is included in this healing, which are thousands of souls when you look around in our family space. Those who are, brothers and sisters, those who are uncles and aunts, those who are grandparents, those who are the parents of each person that has a true connection to what just is happening. So it invoked a lot of feelings and a lot of awareness for us as a collective, karmic collective in the family, to look at deeper meaning of what we are experiencing and how it got us to know ourselves better and how it connected us much more deeper in a time where everybody is in a different place in the world. So while I'm sharing all this, I want to really give a little lesson here, a breakdown as a love coach, to what heartbreak, particularly in connection to the Venusian energy, really, really means. So heartbreak in Venus is something I probably in earlier years of my life would not really, really bring into context. I would say, when I'm in heartbreak, I'm sad and it's different and completely disconnected from something that is actually, artistic, creative, beautiful, embodying a sense of empowerment and true kind of life fulfillment. Because in the creative space, I always over the years found what I really, really, really was seeking for, which is, my kind of expression of love to life, to people, to the world, and to what ultimately I feel is my own self, through my ability to edit movies, to be a writer, to be an artist on many different levels, designing, interior designing bedrooms, and being, part of collectives that make beautiful creative things happening. But the heartbreak was something I put in a different category. And now, being a love coach for so long, and even with the, vision of training people in the future, I hold a real, real understanding that without heartbreak, without real deep transformation in this, surrendered space, we cannot be truly, truly creative. We cannot truly, truly know ourselves, particularly in relationship to helping others to go through these changes. Training coaches is a big commitment. Having the vision of helping the world to having many more people who face the demons of relationship issues. You look out there, business coaches and, kind of advices helping marketing and making business work and making lots of money are out there like millions. And yet, where are these people who are willing to sit down and watch the tears or listen to stories or really, really, really understand to differentiate how their own pain, their own deeper life experience is a real, benefit, a real, almost like a lifeboat to their very own experience. my stories, my knowing, my ability to deal with pain and with transformation in a time of somebody else's grief can be an incredible, human exchange, as long I hold professional boundaries. But when it's about family, when it's about those who we just suddenly, know to love even more because they present the braveness of living something I have not even experienced myself in this very, very intense and serious and almost karmically, completely eclectic way. So, Venus and heartbreak. There are three things I want to really, it's almost like steps, but it's a little journey I want to demonstrate here in my role as talking to you, as love coach, as somebody who really, really understands how love and relationship can be something that is not just romantic. It's not just, in the bedroom. It's not just in our fantasies and on online datings. Um, it's this kind of connection that tells us that, a particularly deeper love is intimate regardless whether it's sexual or not, whether it is something we are making, physical, but then it's not physical at all. Yes, losing a little being that could have been an amazing young man, growing in the world, but now, residing as a soul in heaven to be part of our family is something that is an amazing, vision to hold. It's sad, but yet it's an empowering thing when you really, really act, think, and work spiritually and energetically. So the first step is really to understand that anything that breaks our heart, whether it's a breakup in a relationship, anybody we loved romantically or intimately, anything we leave behind. Like I just shared my Bali story, having had the opportunity to be completely, utterly, surrendered to the process of leaving my home, a beautiful place that I had created for my client with years and years and years of professional intention. I had to let go. And with that, changing all my plans in Bali, changing my environment and creating new, levels of interactions with new people in order to make something very special and unique happen for now and the future. So the opening up really in my heart to understand that the heartbreak has an ability and an effect on me to make me softer, more aware, and more than anything, more willing to actually explore other options to how I can really let go, how I can be in service to others while I'm experiencing this incredible, deep loss that is, undescribable, sad, and, very, very challenging. And yet it has the power to fully, fully, fully open me up. The second part then is the next step is finding that self-care, that healing, that self-healing capability. And we have to find it in ourselves. We cannot be a healer for others. I couldn't have been a healer for the person in my family experiencing that without fully, fully, fully activating my self-healing power in this very moments myself. I could not have been, in understanding about what each one of these beautiful beings I love so much are going through while all these changes are happening. So finding the healer in me and thinking first about the self-activation and the self-reliance of transforming, a, a very sad and emotionally very deeply, challenging situation into something that fully, fully, fully engages me into finding meaning, finding resources in me to really turn this into something very powerful, absolutely powerful. And the third part is really taking this to another level, to being empowered by it, to being actually positively inspired to say, this keeps me alive, this keeps me learning new things, this keeps me being there in service for people who utterly, deeply, love me and care about me. So, how can I be in service of others, you know, very own transformation while I learn to be empowered by all these challenges, all these new experiences every single day? Yeah, and last not least, there is really, really a very, very interesting part in this whole story that we have not really looked into, you know, the bigger part of the long-term effect of a heartbreak unless we really, really put the dots together. And many years later, we're realizing that what happened in our childhood, what happened in our youth, every breakup, every change, every loss of a parent early, loss of a child, which is something we never wish to experience, loss of a grandchild, loss of anyone who is deeply, close to us. So these bigger frequencies of, you know, knowledge and almost wisdom we develop over time, being who we are in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the divine, and speaking again about Venus, the feminine divine is the most beautiful, most, exquisite quantum realm to hold this wisdom, to channel it into other people's healing, into other people's creativity, and more than anything, into a realm that collectively bonds us because this love, this experience can bond us. And I know to share a story that is ultimately my personal story, but yet look at it from a much, much more, transformational, um, sharing and you know, um, learning point, then I think it's something we can totally, utterly integrate into something much bigger, which not just helps us now and in this very moment with the people around us, but it writes stories, it writes books, it makes movies, and ultimately it does something to the world in the greater evolution of things that says, oh, here is a collective that knows how to deal with change and heartbreak. And Venusian energy is the vessel to hold that and transmute it and transform it into something much, much, much more creative and willingly, um, you know, enlightened for the world, because the enlightenment is not in, these fiction stories people try to create. It's in the realness and rawness of the pains individuals have experienced and know to tell in their very unique and simple and highly, highly, you know, impersonal way. Yeah, I think there is this uniqueness in all of us, which has a real place to shine and to find the channel. Often heartbreak and big changes allow this channel to open up and to be for us and with us for the rest of our lives. And not just in this life and in this incarnation, it bonds us with the invisible realm, with the spiritual realm, and with the creative force, which you learn to be empowered by if you really, really, really listen to the dots and to the nudges that keep us connected with whatever we are ready for to receive. The receiving is really the big part of it, receiving whatever it is, whatever we know, whatever we have to give further, and to grow, to really grow to this soul, to that person we are ready to be. Thank you so much for listening. I think that is all I want to share today. And I'm so delighted that despite my emotional state and all the changes I'm experiencing around me right now, I find the still point, the readiness, and also the courage, the real heart opening to share this all with you, and not to neglect my, vision to hold Venus talks as something that is really, really around for meeting more and more and more Venusian energy and people who want to share this energy. So I don't think I need to apologize for being a little delayed in building this, podcast channel and this video channel to a next level. The interviews I'm planning to do are to a certain extent already lined up, but I think I just give myself really time, authentic, raw, real time to live with any emotional changes and shifts I'm experiencing till I feel the readiness to let somebody else share their wisdom with me on this channel. So I thank you for all your presence, for making time to listen to me today. Another Venus day. It's Friday. It's the day I'm born. I am a Taurus, which is a Venus sign. So my Venusian energy is highly activated today. And I'm very, very glad I can share this with you and with many of you around the world. Thank you for listening, and you have a magical day and make your potential heartbreak a Venusian experience, because it is. If you go through any changes, if you go through any heartbreak situation, or let's say letting go of sadness, grief, or challenges, then I hope my words give you a little bit of comfort and the opportunity to really, really see it through a different lens. And if you want to speak with me and have a kind of dialogue or conversation about what you really, really seek to experience right now, I'm always here for you. So please go on my website, which is adrianevenus.com, and you find on the homepage and on many other contact, resources on my website, a link to either book a private session with me. The first one is always my gift to you, this complimentary, or also to WhatsApp me and having support much quicker in chatting with me on mobile chat. Okay, so whatever is really right for you, and all the information are down in the description box here in this very channel with my link tree details, and you find anything, even the link to my next masterclass, which is the business of love, introducing heart-centered men and women to the idea of considering becoming love coaches. And in order to learn to discover that, I offer a 3 month program called Becoming Love, which is a coaching program which I have designed specifically in preparation to a full 1 year training, which will go over a period of time in residential retreats and online. So I thank you so much for listening. All the best. With love from Germany, near the lakes and the mountains. I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you on my next Venus talk. Thank you so much. My love and blessings to you.